Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, a grievance at a local hotel today causing staff to walk off the job for a short time. We're there. It's a scam immigration officials say they're on to. Fixed marriages. Tonight, they speak up on the issue. And find out what the education minister has to say about schools in Exuma. Stay close. The Bahamas Tonight Weekend Edition starts right now.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
It is great to have you with us for the Weekend Edition, everyone. I'm Clint reporting tonight. Business wasn't usual today for employees of the Nassau Palm Resort. They refused to work for a period this morning, taking issue today with new guidelines implemented by management. The disruption attracting a police presence at the 183-room resort. Vaughn Albury was there to find out what led to the walkout.
Most of the Nassau Palm Resort's 62 employees reported to their assigned duties Saturday morning, but later withdrew their services, claiming that they disapprove of a new guideline regarding handover of keys. Secretary General of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Darren Woods, was called in to intervene.
Well, we got a call this morning, said that management made some changes in terms of where the employees would report and be issued keys. They were now issued keys here at the security boat, so which means they had to come out here in the pouring rain this morning to issue keys, which is a direct violation of our industrial agreement, because any changes that has to be made, they have to consult the union first.
Unconfirmed reports state that operations at the resort, located at the intersection of Nassau and West Bay Streets, were reportedly affected. That was not evident, as despite the presence of at least 5 police vehicles, taxi drivers and guests moved unimpeded by the sit-out.
When the union officers came down here to check into the situation, they were told that they couldn't come on property, which again is a violation because we have an industrial agreement in place. And also after that, they called the police and the officers were physically removed from the hotel and put outside.
The employees?
The officers of the union. Well, the employees are outside now because, of course, they're supporting their union, because if they came to find out what the problem is with them, how could you take their representative and put them on the outside?
General Manager Jennifer Hadland told ZNS News that at this time she would rather not comment on the situation. However, Wood said despite the notion that there are possibly some other underlying issues regarding staff at the resort, a limited agreement was reached.
We're having a meeting as early as Monday morning to address both concerns. One, whatever the changes are that they want to make, because we need to ensure that whatever the changes are, that they're not disenfranchised. And of course, the aftermath is what has happened, because they see this as a total disrespect for the union. Okay? And if you disrespect the union this way, what are you doing to the employees in the workplace?
Later in the day, the 23 members of the housekeeping department and other employees returned to work. I am Vaughn Albury, ZNS News.
The Hotel Workers Union Secretary General also touched on other resorts, namely the temporary closure at the Sandals Resort and Breezes on Cable Beach and its effect on union workers.
Well, it doesn't affect our union because they're not members of the union. They're outside of our bargaining unit. So we're not affected by the closure of those hotels, but we have seen some spillover into the other hotels that would have gotten the business from those hotels that would have closed, which would have given our people some more days in the areas that were traditionally very slow.
Now, according to Woods, the other Cable Beach resorts, the Wyndham and Sheridan, on the other hand, are benefiting from Sandals and Breezes' temporary closure.
In particular, the Wyndham Hotel, the Seaside Buffet, we had a meeting about two and a half weeks ago when the announcement was first made, and they agreed that they would accommodate those Breezes guests and any other guests in those restaurants with the same kind of understanding. And we're looking now at the gratuity structure for that, because the gratuity would have been held in escrow and they would have been able to pick up some extra days or shifts, because of the influx in the guests from the other properties. So it's pretty much okay for this time and this time period.
The Department of Immigration has been busy following a number of trends that illegal migrants and Bahamians use to evade capture. This week, Director Jack Thompson addressed the issues of harboring, hiring, or facilitating Family Island travel for illegal migrants. Tonight, though, he addresses the fourth link, fixed marriages. Believe it or not, it's a trend and big business that has been going on for years now. Now, officials believe that more and more Bahamians are reportedly marrying foreigners in marriages of convenience.
Some of the persons who very well, who sometimes enter illegally, may very well know someone who's living here, and they end up getting married. And then later on, I find an application before me for a spousal permit.
Thompson makes it clear that the policy of the Department of Immigration to persons applying for a spousal permit is that they must satisfy his office regarding their entry into the Bahamas.
In fact, you should not even be here. And so let's just say a school friend or a neighborhood friend legally residing in the Bahamas, but someone entered the Bahamas illegally, marry someone here, and then later on there comes this application say I need my spouse with me. Well, that's not going to work. I want to give notice we're on to that.
Bahamians, particularly during these tough economic times, are offering themselves to foreigners in fixed marriages, some commanding hefty costs. Our investigations uncovered up to thousands of dollars to marry an illegal migrant just so they can obtain status. Yet, except for immigration interviews and renewals, they never live or spend time together. Officials say not only is this illegal, but it further contributes to the decay of society and the family structure, as sometimes children are the end result in such fixed economic partnerships. Thompson says there are incidents where they've denied spousal permits.
It is not guaranteed, it is not automatic that when you marry a Bahamian citizen that you are entitled to a spousal permit. We must be satisfied as to some things. And here is a very good case and point where you're entering into the country. You must have documents. And we can comment on that a little later on. But I thought as much as to just put it there, because it is something that, in case that is a plan, I want those who are there to know that is a plan that's not going to work.
Well, Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett recognizes that more must be done in the judiciary to ensure that cases are brought to trial in a timely manner. In fact, he says it's something they're working on with the massive renovations and construction taking place to the court's infrastructure.
We will have at least 6 courts in your province capable of conducting a criminal trial, so that you can have at least 6 different courts with criminal trials being prosecuted in the province, as well as the one in Grand Bahama. Right now, we have 4 courts in the province where criminal matters are being heard, and we have 1 court in Grand Bahama in which criminal matters are being heard. That's in the Supreme Court level. And we hope at the end of the day that we will have at least 6 courts in the province capable of criminal trial, so that we have at least 6 different criminal courts, criminal trials going on at any one time. We are looking to strengthen the judiciary as well. We're looking to increase the number of judges, particularly judges who are able to preside over criminal matters.
The government has announced that when Parliament resumes next month from its summer break, it will present new amendments to the Bail Act in an effort to stem the tide of increasing violent crime. The Chief Justice had this to say on the issue.
So whatever Parliament passes, it has to recognize the separation in the responsibilities of the judges and their judicial function, and it must respect the rights of individuals as enshrined in the Constitution.
In overnight crime, police report that 2 guns were seized and 2 men in custody. The first arrest reportedly occurred around 10 p.m. Friday when a 24-year-old male of Burial Ground Corner was at Peter Street when he reportedly attempted to rob another man. A struggle ensued, resulting in the man disarming the suspect as members of the community detained him until police arrived. A handgun along with ammunition was handed over to police. And around 1:21 this morning, police arrested a 24-year-old male of First Street and Coconut Grove after he was found in possession of a handgun along with a quantity of ammunition. Now, according to police reports, officers of the Central Detective Unit arrested the man in the parking lot of the Club 30 off the Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. Active police investigations continue. Well, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram highlighting to the world the Bahamas' position coming out of a recession and what work is needed to put the economy back on a strong footing. Speaking in his role as chairman of the Board of Governors of the World Bank yesterday in Washington, D.C., Mr. Ingram told delegates like much of the Caribbean, the Bahamas is a small, open economy that is highly tourist dependent. In common with the region, we are among the most susceptible to economic shocks, the effects of climate change and natural disasters. Our economic fortunes, he said, are tied very closely to that of the U.S.
With a jobless, low-growth recovery anticipated for the next few years, the region will need to redouble efforts to contain debt burden while making prudent public sector investments. To attract scarce global foreign direct investment, we'll also need to further enhance the business environment, increase our productivity, and aggressively exploit more diversified trading opportunities. We therefore foresee a multifaceted engagement by the bank group and the fund within the Caribbean and other similarly placed small island states. This past year, the bank supported its small island state members with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility and is developing a new Pacific Catastrophe Risk Assessment and Financing Initiative.
The Prime Minister noted that the bank has made some major changes in order to move more effectively and to help countries. While applauding those efforts, he urged directors to do more.
In view of the intense uncertainties in the global economy, the fund proposes to activate a new arrangement to borrow, which would give it access to $300 billion line of credit of financing that has been committed by its large shareholders. Concerns over sovereign debt in a number of advanced economies, specifically in the Eurozone, have been a major cause of global financial market volatility. The challenge is to find the appropriate pace of fiscal adjustment for each country, recognizing that the path of fiscal consolidation will differ across countries. The environment as we now find ourselves in at this year's annual meetings dictates that we continue to make our institutions more flexible, more responsive, and results-driven. The proof of our efforts will not only be in the statements we make, but in the meaningful and possible changes made in the lives of our people over the next several years.
Prime Minister Hubert Ingram will return home tomorrow, a day earlier than previously announced. The nation's leader is wrapping up a busy week of high-level meetings and conferences in the New York and Washington, D.C. area. Earlier this week, he addressed the United Nations General Assembly on chronic non-communicable diseases.